A voice like rain on an old tin roof brings stories alive with a soothing truth. In pages he weaves a world so light, the stars lean close to kiss the night. His voice lulls hearts in restless mind, lost in tales where dreams unwind. The book feather reads as shadows rise. His words are calm as lullabies. So turn the page and close your eyes. Float where the quiet whispers lie. Across the oceans the story's tide. Relax and let the world subside. 1,000 accents the moonlight bends, in words no borders, no distance ends. Worlds collide in his gentle tone. A whisper makes you feel at home. Each line he shares feels like coming back to a hearth of words in the silent black. From novels deep to poems that sway, he reads the night into the day. So turn the page and close your eyes. Float where the quiet whispers lie. Across the oceans the story's tide. Relax and let the world subside. 1,000 accents the moonlight bends, in words no borders, no distance ends. Across the oceans the story's tide. Relax and let the world subside. A voice like rain on an old tin roof brings stories alive with a soothing truth. In pages he weaves a world so light, the stars lean close to kiss the night. His voice lulls hearts in restless mind, lost in tales where dreams unwind. The book feather reads as shadows rise. His words are calm as lullabies. So turn the page and close your eyes. Float where the quiet whispers lie. Across the oceans the story's tide. Relax and let the world subside. A 1,000 accents the moonlight bends, in words no borders, no distance ends. Worlds collide in his gentle tone. A whisper makes you feel at home. Each line he shares feels like coming back to a hearth of words in the silent black. From novels deep to poems that sway, he reads the night into
Ladies and gentlemen.
All right. Seems quiet. Too quiet. I'm Batman. Gotham is never safe without me. What time is it? It's 7 o'clock. Okay, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. You can attach towers? Shut up. Impromptu performance this evening, which I must say was indeed a welcome distraction. Thank you, Mr. Holmes. You're very kind. This is going to be funny. Good evening. How are we doing? What the heck is this? Okay. Anyway. Hi, everybody. How we doing? Good evening. Renato. Well done on claiming first place. Good job. Chu, it's lovely to see you. Chelsea won the Super Cup. Great. Witchy. Hi, Witchy. That's very handsome of you to say. Well, I do my best. Trying to get the lid off my tea without spilling it. Tap, 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 tap. Boy, Manchester United fan, I see.
Well, what you got the EMF?
I feel like I was there for that clip. So I don't actually really follow soccer, but when I lived in the UK, yes, I guess I would say I was a Man U fan, but that's because everybody else was, and I don't know. Soccer was never really my thing. So I can't really say I'm a fan of anybody, really. Not in that world. I just couldn't get into it. Hi, Cat. How are you feeling, Father? Well, Kitty. I'm feeling better. I'm not 100%, but I knew that if I didn't get my butt in here, on here, over here, that I would just tell myself I'm not feeling good enough the whole time. And if past experiences have taught me anything, it is that being on stream, having a purpose, doing something important, or at least I hope it's important, helps me feel better. And getting to talk to you guys and, hang out, that makes it worthwhile. So I'm on the mend, shall we say. Sing the Manchester United theme song from Eurotrip. God, I haven't seen that movie in years. Man U, it's what we do to you, Man U. I have no idea. The only football club I know anything about at all is AFC Wimbledon, a third-tier team, and only because of the Nerf fighter community. Or nerd fighter community. Huh. I gotta be honest, all of that just went meow right over my head. My baby takes the morning train. She works from 9 to 5. And then, you know, I feel like those words should be familiar to me. It's just not coming to me. And it might not ever. But, you know, it's fine. Witchy knows it though, so there you go. As long as somebody else knows, we're in good shape. Okay. Couple of things. I have found the next 2 books that we're going to be reading on stream. The first one that we're going to be reading next, or the next one, not the first one. You know what I mean. The next book is a vampire-esque tale. And I picked it because it's on the spicy side. And then the book after that is a dystopian sci-fi mix story. So yeah. I purchased them online today. So they should be here in a few days. And then we'll just decide when we're going to start it. Because technically we still have quite a bit of the Hound of the Baskervilles. But because this is an old story that anybody can read, I am not committed to finishing it. I just enjoyed it, or I am enjoying it because of, you know, it's Sherlock Holmes. Who doesn't love a Sherlock Holmes story? But who doesn't love a spicy vampire? So, you know. Yeah. Caliente. We reading Twilight? No. No. I'd love to hear you read some
Scotty
ears.
doesn't know that Fiona and me do it in my van every Sunday. She tells them she's in church, but he doesn't know. Still, she's on her knees, and Scotty doesn't know.
Scotty doesn't know. Scotty doesn't know. Read some Piers Anthony someday. You'd have to drop me a link in Discord. I'm not quite sure what that is. Who that is. Excuse me. All right. Circuit du Freak. I'm going to spin the wheel because I have 15 spins to handle. I'm shocked. Welcome to the club. I'm shocked every day. I started this weekend. I went to Lowe's and spent about $1,000 on materials so that I can build a 12 by 12 fire pit seating area for the backyard. And then we went and picked out a new mattress because our current one needs replacing very badly. I started pre-assembling the fire pit area. But the bulk of the materials won't be here until Friday. So hopefully the weather's nice next weekend. Not like stupid crazy hot or anything. So that I can get to work on making it a reality. You know. I hope the spins all end up hydrate or something like that. Doesn't stress out the ticker. I'll be fine.
Hammer Curls X5.
See? 5 hammer curls. Easy. Let's do one more.
Push-ups X10.
10 push-ups, piece of cake. In fact, I'm gonna drop these spins by 2 already. You see, I did it. They're down, gone. All right, let's do the push-ups first, and then we'll do the hammer curls, okay? All right. Easy peasy. Nailed it. Thank you very much. I'm here all week. I see your DM, madam. Thank you. Okay, I will check that out. Something tells me it's not a book I'm going to be able to read on stream, though. Discord only. Which, by the way, we are... Well, that's just a black book. We are back in business with continuing our read through Onyx Storm. Thursday evenings after stream in my Discord now, not Stunts. We have shifted to mine because, thanks to Catbox, I have a Discord again. She basically forced me into it. No pressure. So yeah, Thursday nights, if you're into the Fourth Wing series, we are plugging away at Onyx Storm, and let me tell you, that Zayden guy. All right. Witchy, you asked what my mug looked like. I am afraid to say it is nothing fancy. Here's your puzzle. London. It is black and metal. Wow. It's black and metal because it's sitting on a warmer to keep my tea warm. Oh, that is just divine. Absolutely divine. It's so good. It's delicious. I can't believe it. Just one sip and I'm like, oh my god. Oh, second sip too. What type of tea? It's English breakfast, so a black tea with milk and sugar mixed in because that's the way it should be drank. I really need to start drinking more hot tea and coffee. I drink the cold stuff like it's air. That's because the cold stuff really is not tea. Not really. It's tea flavored. It's not really tea, you know. Father of dead tattooed trees. That's right, Boardhole. Hello. I love the way you described that the other day. Completely threw me off. But now I love it. It is fantastic. All right. Let's see. let's switch over. Oh, God. I forgot to move the marbles game. Oopsie whoopsie. There we go. Lovely. So, yes. Enjoy the puzzle. Enjoy the RPG game if you wish. Coffee, black, steaming, not stirred. I like my tea shaken while boiling hot. That would be terrible, actually. Oh, let's see. We left off finishing chapter 8 last time. So that means we're on chapter 9. Just in case you were curious how the chapters connected to each other. That's my tip of the day. Chapter 9 is called The Light Upon the Moor. This is apparently the second report of Dr. Watson, because previously he had already sent a 20-page letter to Sherlock explaining what had transpired up to that point. So, without further ado, thank you for being here. Thank you for spending some of your Sunday evening with moi. And sit back, relax, and I'm going to read you a frickin' story, okay? All right. Chapter 9. Baskerville Hall, October 15th. My dear Holmes. Listening and writing? Excellent. If I was compelled to leave you without much news during the early days of my mission, you must acknowledge that I am making up for lost time, and that events are now crowding thick and fast upon us. In my last report, I ended upon my top note with Barrymore at the window, and now I have quite a budget already which will, unless I am much mistaken, considerably surprise you. Surprise, Sherlock Holmes? Come now, dear Watson. Things have taken a turn which I could not have anticipated. In some ways, they have, within the last 48 hours, become much clearer, and in some ways, they have become more complicated. But I will tell you all, and you shall judge for yourself. Before breakfast on the morning following my adventure, I went down the corridor and examined the room in which Barrymore had been on the night before. The western window, The western window through which he had stared so intently has, I noticed, one peculiarity above all other windows in the house. It commands the nearest outlook onto the moor. There is an opening between two trees which enables one from this point of view to look right down upon it, while from all other windows it is only a distant glimpse which can be obtained. It follows, therefore, that Barrymore, since only this window would serve the purpose, must have been looking out for something or somebody upon the moor. The night was very dark, so that I can hardly imagine how he could have hoped to see anyone. It had struck me that if it was possible that some love intrigue was on foot, that would have accounted for his stealthy movements and also for the uneasiness of his wife. The man is a striking-looking fellow, very well equipped to steal the heart of a country girl, so that this theory seemed to have something to support it. I thought there was only like 3 women in this entire place. Anyway, carrying on. The opening of the door, which I had heard after I had returned to my room, might mean that he had gone out to keep some clandestine appointment. So I reasoned with myself in the morning, and I tell you the direction of my suspicions, however much the result may have shown that they were unfounded. But whatever the true explanation of Barrymore's movements might be, I felt that the responsibility of keeping them to myself until I could explain them was more than I could bear. I had an interview with the baronet in his study after breakfast, and I told him all that I had seen. He was less surprised than I had expected. I knew that Barrymore walked about nights, and I had a mind to speak to him about it, said he. 2 or 3 times I have heard his steps in the passage, coming and going, just about the hour you name. Perhaps then he pays a visit every night to that particular window, I suggested. Perhaps he does. If so, we should be able to shadow him and see what it is that he is after. I wonder what your friend Holmes would do if he were here. I believe that he would do exactly what you now suggest, said I. He would follow Barrymore and see what he did. Then we shall do it together. But surely he would hear us. The man is rather deaf, and in any case we must take our chance of that. We'll set up in my room tonight and wait until he passes. Sir Henry rubbed his hands with pleasure, and it was evident that he hailed the adventure as a relief to the somewhat quiet life upon the moor. The baronet has been in communication with the architect who prepared the plans for Sir Charles, and with the contractor from London, so that we may expect great changes to begin here soon. There have been decorators and furnishers up from Plymouth, and it is evident that our friend has large ideas and means to spare no pains or expense to restore the grandeur of his family. When the house is renovated and refurnished, all that he will need will be a wife to make it complete. Between ourselves, there are pretty clear signs that this will not be wanting if the lady is willing, for I have seldom seen a man more infatuated with a woman than is with our beautiful neighbor, Miss Stapleton. And yet the course of true love does not run quite as smoothly as one would under the circumstances expect. Today, for example, its surface was broken by a very unexpected ripple, which has caused our friend considerable perplexity and annoyance. After the conversation which I have quoted about Barrymore, Sir Henry put on his hat and prepared to go out. As a matter of course, I did the same. "What, are you coming, Watson?" he asked, looking at me in a curious way. "That depends on whether you are going on the moor," said I. "Yes, I am." "Well, you know what my instructions are. I am sorry to intrude, but you heard how earnestly Holmes insisted that I should not leave you, and especially that you should not go alone upon the moor." Sir Henry put his hand upon my shoulder with a pleasant smile. "My dear fellow," said he, "Holmes, with all his wisdom, did not foresee some things which have happened since I have been on the moor. You understand me? I am sure that you are the last man in the world who would wish to be a spoil sport. I must go out alone." It put me in a most awkward position. I was at a loss what to say or what to do, and before I had made up my mind, he picked up his cane and was gone. But when I came to think of the matter over, the conscience reproached me bitterly for having, on any pretext, allowed him to go out of my sight. I imagined what my feelings would be if I had to return to you and to confess that some misfortune had occurred through my disregard for your instructions. I assure you, my cheeks flushed at the very thought. It might not even now be too late to overtake him, so I set off at once in the direction of Merripit House. I hurried along the road at the top of my speed without seeing anything of Sir Henry until I came to the point where the moor path branches off. There, fearing that perhaps I had come in the wrong direction after all, I mounted a hill from which I could command a view, the same hill which is cut into the dark quarry. Thence I saw him at once. He was on the moor path about a quarter of a mile off, and a lady was by his side who could only be Miss Stapleton. It was clear that there was already an understanding between them, and that they had met by appointment. They were walking slowly along in deep conversation, and I saw her making quick little movements of her hands as if she were very earnest in what she was saying, while he listened intently, and once or twice shook his head in strong dissent. I stood among the rocks watching them, very much puzzled as to what I should do next. To follow them and break into their intimate conversation seemed to be an outrage, and yet my clear duty was never for an instant to let him out of my sight. To act the spy upon a friend was a hateful task. Still, I could see no better course than to observe him from the hill, and to clear my conscience by confessing to him afterwards that I had done. It is true that if any sudden danger had threatened him, I was too far away to be of use. And yet I am sure that you will agree with me that the position was very difficult, and that there was nothing more which I could do. Our friends, Sir Henry and the lady, had halted on the path and were standing deeply absorbed in their conversation, when I suddenly was aware that I was not the only witness of their interview. A wisp of green floating in the air caught my eye, and another glance showed me that it was carried on a stick by a man who was moving among the broken ground. It was Stapleton with his butterfly net. He was very much closer to the pair than I was, and he appeared to be moving in their direction. At this instant, Sir Henry suddenly drew Miss Stapleton to the side. His arm was round her, but it seemed to me that she was straining away from him with her face averted. He stooped his head to hers, and she raised one hand as if in protest. Next moment, I saw them spring apart and turn hurriedly round. Stapleton was the cause of the interruption. He was running wildly towards them, his absurd net dangling behind him. He gesticulated and almost danced with excitement in front of the lovers. What the scene meant I could not imagine, but it seemed to me that Stapleton was abusing Sir Henry, who offered explanations which became more angry as the other refused to accept them. The lady stood by in haughty silence. Finally, Stapleton turned upon his heel and beckoned in a peremptory way to his sister, who, after an irresolute glance at Sir Henry, walked off by the side of her brother. The naturalist's angry gestures showed that the lady was included in his displeasure. The baronet stood for a minute looking after them, and then he walked slowly back the way he had come, his head hanging, the very picture of dejection. What all this meant I could not imagine, but I was deeply ashamed to have witnessed so intimate a scene without my friend's knowledge. I ran down the hill, therefore, and met the baronet at the bottom. His face was flushed with anger, and his brows were wrinkled like one who is at his wit's end as what to do. "Hello, Watson. Where have you dropped from?" said he. "You don't mean to say that you came after me in spite of all?" I examined everything to him. Examined? Really? No, I explained everything to him. How I had found it impossible to remain behind, how I had followed him, and how I had witnessed all that had occurred. For an instant his eyes blazed at me, but my frankness disarmed his anger, and he broke at last into a rather rueful laugh. "You would have thought the middle of that prairie a fairly safe place for a man to be private," said he. "But by thunder, the whole countryside seems to have been out to see me do my wooing, and a mighty poor wooing at that. Where had you engaged a seat? I was on that hill. Ah, quite in the back row, eh? But her brother was well up to the front. Did you see him come out on us? Yes, I did. Did he ever strike you as being crazy? This brother of hers? Well, I can't say that he ever did. I dare say not. I always thought him sane enough until today. But you can take it from me that either he or I ought to be in a straitjacket. What's the matter with me anyhow? You've lived near me for some weeks, Watson. Tell me straight now. Is there anything that would prevent me from making a good husband to a woman that I loved? Well, I should say not. He can't object to my worldly position, so it must be myself that he has his down on. What has he against me? I never hurt man or woman in my life that I know of. And yet he would not so as much let me touch the tips of her fingers. Did he say so? That and a deal more. I tell you, Watson, I've only known her these few weeks, but from the first, I just felt that she was made for me. And she too. She was happy when she was with me. And that I'll swear. There's a light in a woman's eyes that speaks louder than words. But he has never led us together, and it was only today for the first time that I saw a chance of having a few words with her alone. She was glad to meet me, but when she did it, it was not love that she would talk about, and she wouldn't have let me talk about it either if she could have stopped it. She kept coming back to it, that it was a place of danger, and that she would never be happy until I had left. I told her that since I had seen her, I was in no hurry to leave it, and that if she really wanted me to go, the only way to work it was for her to arrange to go with me. With that, I offered in as many words to marry her. But before she could answer, down came this brother of hers, running at us with a face on him like a madman. He was just white with rage, and those light eyes of his were blazing with fury. What was I doing with the lady? How dared I offer her attentions which were distasteful to her? Do I think that because I was baronet I could do what I liked? If he had not been her brother, I should have known better how to answer him. As it was, I told him my feelings towards his sister were such as I was not ashamed of, and that I'd hoped that she might honor me by becoming my wife. That seemed to make the matter no better. So then I lost my temper too, and I answered him rather more hotly than I should perhaps, considering that she was standing by. So it ended by his going off with her, and as you saw, here I am as a badly puzzled man, as in this county, as any in this county. Just tell me what it all means, Watson, and I'll owe you more than I ever can hope to pay. Poor guy. Poor Henry. I tried one of two explanations, but indeed I was completely puzzled myself. Our friend's title, his fortune, his age, his character, and his appearance are all in his favor, and I know nothing against him unless it be his dark fate which runs in the family. That his advances should be rejected so brusquely, without any reference to the lady's own wishes, and that the lady should accept the situation without protest, is very amazing. However, our conjectures were set at rest by a visit from Stapleton himself that very afternoon. He had come to offer apologies for his rudeness of the morning, and after a long private interview with Sir Henry in the study, the upshot of their conversation was that the breach is quite healed, and that we are to dine at Merripit House next Friday as a sign of it. I don't say now that he isn't a crazy man, said Sir Henry. I can't forget the look in his eyes when he ran at me this morning. But I must allow that no man could make a more handsome apology than he has done. Did he give any explanation of his conduct? His sister is everything in his life, he says. That is natural enough, and I am glad that he should understand her value. They have always been together, and according to his account, he has been a very lonely man with only her as a companion. So that the thought of losing her was, well, really terrible to him. He had not understood. He said that I was becoming attached to her, but when he saw with his own eyes that it was really so, and that she might be taken away from him, it gave him such a shock that for a time he was not responsible for what he said or did. He was very sorry for all that had passed, and he recognized how foolish and how selfish it was that he should imagine that he could not hold a beautiful woman like his sister to himself for her whole life. If she had to leave him, he had rather it was to a neighbor like myself than to anyone else. But in any case, it was a blow to him, and it would take him some time before he could prepare himself to meet it. He would withdraw all opposition upon his part if I would promise for 3 months to let the matter rest, and to be content with cultivating the lady's friendship during that time without claiming her love. This I promised, and so the matter rests. So there is one of our small mysteries cleared up. It is something to have touched bottom anywhere in this bog in which we are floundering. We know now why Stapleton looked with disfavor upon his sister's suitor, even when that suitor was so eligible a one as Sir Henry. And now I pass on to another thread which I have extricated out of the tangled skein, the mystery of the sobs in the night, of the tear-stained face of Mrs. Barrymore, of the secret journey of the butler to the western lattice window. Congratulate me, my dear Holmes, and tell me that I have not disappointed you as an agent, that you do not regret the confidence which you showed me when you sent me down. All these things have by one night's work been thoroughly cleared. I have said by one night's work, but in truth it was by 2 nights' work, for on the first we drew entirely blank. I sat up with Sir Henry in his rooms until nearly 3 o'clock in the morning, but no sound of any sort did we hear except the chiming clock upon the stairs. It was a most melancholy vigil, and ended by each of us falling asleep in our chairs. Fortunately, we were not discouraged, and we determined to try again. The next night we lowered the lamp and sat smoking cigarettes without making the least sound. It was incredible how slowly the hours crawled by, and yet we were helped through it by the same sort of patient interest which the hunter must feel as he watches the trap into which he hopes the game may wander. 1 struck, and 2, and we'd almost for the second time given up in despair, when in an instant we both sat bolt upright in our chairs with all our weary senses keenly on the alert once more. We had heard the creak of a step in the passage. Very stealthily we heard it pass along until it died away in the distance. Then the baronet gently opened his door, and we set out in pursuit. Already our man had gone round the gallery, and the corridor was all in darkness. Softly we stole along until we had come into the other wing. We were just in time to catch a glimpse of the tall, black, bearded figure, his shoulders rounded as he tiptoed down the passage. Then he passed through the same door as before, and the light of the candle, framed in darkness, and shot one single yellow beam across the gloom of the corridor. We shuffled cautiously towards it, trying every plank before we dared to put our whole weight upon it. We had taken the precaution of leaving our boots behind us, but even so, the old boards snapped and creaked beneath our tread. Sometimes it seemed impossible that he should fail to hear our approach. However, the man is fortunately rather deaf, and he was entirely preoccupied in that which he was doing. When at last we reached the door and peeped through, we found him crouching at the window, candle in hand, his white, intent face pressed against the pane, exactly as I had seen him 2 nights before. We had arranged no plan or of campaign, but the baronet is a man to whom the most direct way is always the most natural. He walked into the room, and as he did so, Barrymore sprang up from the window with a sharp hiss of his breath and stood, livid and trembling, before us. His dark eyes, glaring out of the white mask of his face, were full of horror and astonishment as he gazed from Sir Henry to me. "What are you doing here, Barrymore?" Nothing, sir." His agitation so great that he could hardly speak, and the shadows sprang up and down from the shaking of his candle. "It was the window, sir. I go around at night to see they are fastened." "On the 2nd floor?" "Yes, sir, all the windows." "Look here, Barrymore," said Sir Henry sternly. "We have made up our minds to have the truth out of you, so it will save you trouble to tell it sooner rather than later. Come now, no lies. What were you doing at that window?" The fellow looked upon us in a helpless way, and he wrung his hands together like one who was in last extremity of doubt and misery. "I was doing no harm, sir. I was holding a candle to the window." "And why were you holding a candle to the window?" "Don't ask me, Sir Henry. Don't ask me. I give you my word, sir, that it was not my secret, and that I cannot tell it. If it concerned no one but myself, I would not try to keep it from you." Let's see if I can say this name without messing it up. Empirical Stargazer. There we go. I just had to get there. Welcome in. How you doing? A sudden idea occurred to me, and I took the candle from the trembling hand of the butler. "He must have been holding it as a signal," said I. "Let us see if there is any answer. Mama House Gaming, hello. Lovely to see you." I held it as he had done, and stared out into the darkness of the night. Vaguely I could discern the blank bank of trees and the lighter expanse of the moor, for the moon was behind the clouds. And then I gave a cry of exultation, for a tiny pinpoint of yellow light had suddenly transfixed the dark veil and glowed steadily in the center of the black square framed by the window. "Thank you. Nice to meet everyone here." "Absolutely. Good to see you too." "Well, there it is," I cried. No, sir, it is nothing at all," the butler broke in. "I assure you, sir." "Move your light across the window, Watson," cried the baronet. "See, the other moves also. Now, you rascal, do you deny that it is a signal? Come, speak up. Who was your confederate out yonder? And what is this conspiracy that is going on?" The man's face became openly defiant. It is my business, and not yours. I will not tell. Then you leave my employment right away. Very good, sir. If I must, I must. And you go in disgrace. By thunder, you may well be ashamed of yourself. Your family has lived with mine for over 100 years under this roof, and here I find you deep in some dark plot against me. No, sir, not against you. It was a woman's voice, and Mrs. Barrymore, paler and more horror-struck than her husband, was standing at the door. Her bulky figure in a shawl and skirt might have been comic were it not for the intensity of feeling upon her face. We have to go, Eliza. This is the end of it. You can pack our things, said the butler. Oh, John, have I brought you to this? It is my doing, Sir Henry, all mine. He has done nothing except for my sake and because I asked him. Speak out then. What does it mean? My unhappy brother is starving on the moor. We cannot let him perish at our very gates. The light is a signal to him that the food is ready for him, and his light out yonder is to show the spot to which to bring it. Then your brother is? The escaped convict, sir. Selden, the criminal. That's the truth, sir, said Barrymore. I said that it was not my secret and that I could not tell it to you. But now you have heard it, and you will see that there was a plot. It was not against you. This, then, was the explanation of the stealthy expeditions at night and the light at the window. Sir Henry and I both stared at the woman in amazement. Was it possible that this stolidly respectable person was of the same blood as one of the most notorious criminals in the country? Yes, sir, my name was Selden, and he is my younger brother. We humoured him too much when he was a lad, and gave him his own way in everything until he came to think that the world was made for his pleasure, and that he could do what he liked in it. Then as he grew older, he met wicked companions, and the devil entered into him until he broke my mother's heart and dragged our name in the dirt. From crime to crime, he sank lower and lower until it is only the mercy of God which has snatched him from the scaffold. But to me, sir, he was always the little curly-haired boy that I had nursed and played with as an elder sister would. That was why he broke prison, sir. He knew that I was here and that we could not refuse to help him. When he dragged himself here one night, weary and starving, with the warders herd at his heels, what could we do? We took him in and fed him and cared for him. Then you returned, sir, and my brother thought he would be safer on the moor than anywhere else until the hue and cry was over. So he lay in hiding there. But every second night, we made sure if he was still there by putting a light in the window. And if there was an answer, my husband took out some bread and meat to him. Every day we hoped that he was gone. But as long as he was there, we could not desert him. That is the whole truth, as I am an honest Christian woman, and you will see that if there is blame in the matter, it does not lie with my husband, but with me, for whose sake he has done all that he has. The woman's words came with an intense earnestness which carried conviction with them. Is this true, Barrymore? Yes, Sir Henry, every word of it. Well, I cannot blame you for standing by your own wife. Forget what I have said. Go to your room, you two. We shall talk further about this matter in the morning. When they were gone, we looked out of the window again. Sir Henry had flung it open, and the cold night wind beat in upon our faces. Far away in the black distance, there still glowed that one tiny point of yellow light. I wonder he dares, said Sir Henry. It may be so placed as to be only visible from here. Very likely. Well, how far do you think it is? Out by the cleft tor, I think. Not more than a mile or two off. Or hardly that. Well, it cannot be far if Barrymore had to carry out the food to it. And he is waiting, this villain, beside that candle. By thunder, Watson, I'm going out to take that man. Wait. Yeah, I'm going out to take that man. Take that man where? Denny's? The same thought had crossed my own mind. It was not as if the Barrymores had taken us into their confidence. Their secret had been forced from them. The man was a danger to the community, an unmitigated scoundrel for whom there was neither pity nor excuse. We were only doing our duty in taking this chance of putting him back where he could do no harm. With his brutal and violent nature, others would have to pay the price if we held our hands. Any night, for example, our neighbors the Stapletons might be attacked by him, and it may have been the thought of this which made Sir Henry so keen upon the adventure. I will come, said I. Then get your revolver and put on your boots. The sooner we start, the better, as the fellow may put out his light and be off. In 5 minutes we were outside the door, starting upon our expedition. We hurried through the dark shrubbery amid the dull moaning of the autumn wind and the rustle of the falling leaves. The night air was heavy with the smell of damp and decay. Now and again, the moon popped out for an instant, but clouds were driving over the face of the sky, and just as we came out on the moor, a thin rain began to fall. The light still burned steadily in front. Are you armed? I asked. I have a hunting crop. We must close in on him rapidly, for he is said to be a desperate fellow. We shall take him by surprise and have him at our mercy before he can resist. I say, Watson, said the baronet, what would Holmes say to this? How about that our hour of darkness in which the power of evil is exalted? As if in answer to his words, there rose suddenly out of the vast gloom of the moor that strange cry which I had already heard upon the borders of the great Grimpen Mire. It came with the wind through the silence of the night, a long, deep mutter, then a rising howl, and then the sad moan in which it died away. Again and again it sounded, the whole air throbbing with it, strident, wild, and menacing. The baronet caught my sleeve, and his face glimmered white through the darkness. My God, what's that, Watson? I don't know. It's a sound they have on the moor. I heard it once before. It died away, and an absolute silence closed in upon us. We stood straining our ears, but nothing came. Watson, said the baronet. It was a cry of a hound. My blood ran cold in my veins. for there was a break in his voice which told of the sudden horror which had seized him. "What do they call this sound?" he asked. "Who?" "The folk on the countryside." "Oh, they are ignorant people. Why should you mind what they call it?" "Tell me, Watson, what did they say of it?" I hesitated, but could not escape the question. "They say it is the cry of the Hound of the Baskervilles." He groaned and was silent for a few moments. "A hound it was," he said at last, "but it seemed to come from miles away, over yonder, I think." It was hard to say whence it came. It rose and fell with the wind. Isn't that the direction of the Great Grimpen Mire? Yes, it is. Well, it was up there. Come now, Watson, didn't you think yourself that it was the cry of a hound? I am not a child. You need not fear to speak the truth. Stapleton was with me when I heard it last. He said that it might be the calling of a strange bird. No, it was a hound. My God, can there be some truth in all these stories? Is it possible that I am really in danger for so dark a cause? You don't believe it, do you, Watson? No. And yet, it is one thing to laugh about it in London, and it is another to stand out here in the darkness of the moor and to hear such a cry as that. And my uncle! There was the footprint of the hound beside him as he lay. It all fits together. I don't think that I am a coward, Watson, but that second seemed to freeze my very blood. That sound. Feel my hand. It was as cold as a block of marble. You'll be all right tomorrow. I don't think I'll get that cry out of my head. What do you advise we do now? Shall we turn back? No, by thunder, we have come out to get our man, and we will do it. We after the convict and the hellhound, as likely as not after us. Come on. We'll see it through if all the fiends of the pit were loose upon the moor. By goodness, this is a long chapter. We stumbled slowly along in the darkness with the black loom of the craggly hills around us, and the yellow speck of light burning steadily in front. There is nothing so deceptive as the distance of a light upon a pitch-dark night, and sometimes the glimmer seemed to be far away upon the horizon, and sometimes it might have been within a few yards of us. But at last we could see whence it came, and then we knew that we were indeed very close. A guttering candle was stuck in a crevice of the rocks, which flanked it on each side, so as to keep the wind from it, to prevent it from being visible, save in the direction of Baskerville Hall. A boulder of granite concealed our approach. Crouching behind it, we gazed over it at the signal light. It was strange to see this single candle burning there in the middle of the moor, with no sign of life near it. Just the one straight yellow flame, and the gleam of the rock on each side of it. "What shall we do now?" whispered Sir Henry. "Wait here. He must be near his light. Let us see if we can get a glimpse of him." The words were hardly out of my mouth, when we both saw him. Over the rocks, in the crevice of which the candle burned, there was a thrust out of an evil yellow face, a terrible animal face, all seamed and scored with vile passions, foul with mire, with a bristling beard, and hung with matted hair. It might have well belonged to one of those old savages who dwelt in the burrows of the hillsides. The light beneath him was reflected in his small, cunning eyes, which peered fiercely to the right and to the left through the darkness like a crafty and savage animal who has heard the steps of the hunters. Something has evidently aroused his suspicions. It may have been that Barrymore had some private signal which he had neglected to give, or the fellow may have had some other reason for thinking all was not well. But I could read his fears upon his wicked face. Any instant he might dash out the light and vanish in the darkness. I sprang forward, therefore, and Sir Henry did the same. At the same moment, the convict screamed out a curse at us and hurled a rock which splintered up against the boulder which had sheltered us. I caught one glimpse of his short, squat, strongly built figure as he sprang to his feet and turned to run. At that same moment, by a lucky chance, the moon broke through the clouds. We rushed over the brow of the hill, and there was our man running with great speed down the other side, springing over the stones in his way with the activity of a mountain goat. A lucky long shot of my revolver might have crippled him, but I had brought it only to defend myself if attacked, and not to shoot an unarmed man who was running away. We were both swift runners and in fairly good training, but we soon found that we had no chance of overtaking him. We saw him for a long time in the moonlight until he was only a small speck moving swiftly along the boulders upon the side of a distant hill. We ran and ran until we were completely blown, but the space between us grew even wider. Finally, we stopped and sat panting on two rocks while we watched him disappearing in the distance. And it was at that moment that there occurred a most strange and unexpected thing. We had risen from our rocks and were turning to go home, having abandoned the hopeless chase. The moon was low upon the right, and the jagged pinnacle of a granite tor stood up against the lower curve of its silver disk. There, outlined as black as the ebony statue on that shining background, I saw the figure of a man upon the tor. Do not think that it was a delusion, Holmes. I assure you that I have never in my life seen anything more clearly. As far as I could judge, the figure was that of a tall, thin man. He stood with legs a little separated, his arms folded, his head bowed, as if he were brooding over that enormous wilderness of peat and granite which lay before him. He might have been the very spirit of that terrible place. It was not the convict. This man was far from the place where the latter had disappeared. Besides, he was a much taller man. With a cry of surprise, I pointed him out to the baronet, but in the instant during which I had turned to grasp his arm, the man was gone. There was the sharp pinnacle of granite still cutting the lower edge of the moon, but its peak bore no trace of that silent and motionless figure. I wished to go in that direction and to search the tor, but it was some distance away. The baronet's nerves were still quivering from that cry, which recalled the dark story of his family, and he was not in the mood for fresh adventures. He had not seen this lonely man upon the tor and could not feel the thrill which his strange presence and his commanding attitude had given me. "A warder, no doubt," said he. "The moor's been thick with them since this fellow's escaped." Well, perhaps his explanation may be the right one, but I should like to have some further proof of it. Today we mean to communicate to the Princetown people where they should look for their missing man. But it is hard lines that we have not actually had the triumph of bringing him back as our own prisoner. Such are the adventures of last night. And you must acknowledge, my dear Holmes, that I have done you very well in the matter of the report. Much of what I tell you is no doubt quite irrelevant, but I still feel that it is best that I should let you have all the facts and leave you to select for yourself those which will be of most service to you in helping to your conclusions. We are certainly making some progress. So far as the Barrymores go, we have found the motive of their actions, and that has cleared up the situation very much. But the moor, with its mysteries and its strange inhabitants, remains as inscrutable as ever. Perhaps in my next, I may be able to throw some light upon this also. Best of all would it be if you could come down to us. In any case, you will hear from me again in the course of the next few days. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was a very lengthy chapter 9. Where is my tea? All of that was a letter to Holmes. That's good tea. Whew. I do say, Witchy, quite a delight. Now, let us grandeur upon a race of the marbles, shall we? Perhaps one built by someone in thy community that could be so as good as to give us a new thrill. Yes, I think that would be rather nice. "90 seconds on the clock. Exclamation point play. To play." Well, if that wasn't confusing to find where all of our balls went, I tell you. So, how's everybody doing? You can see the puzzle is getting some good work. Oof, I almost lost my page. Forgot how much I love the puzzle. It can be quite fun, can't it? 'Tis a good time. Oh boy. Oh, crack of the neck. Crunch, crunch. Oh dear. No, not follow me. Let's follow a cat in a box, shall we? I have to toot my own horn. I feel like I'm getting a pretty good handle of switching between...
Hi, Cat here. I'm just gonna sit in my box and watch the stream, if that's okay.
Yes, very much, quite. Switching between the American accent that needs to be over-enunciated to then that of Watson, which needs to be lively and chipper. This is kind of a fun one. I like it. What? Oh, okay. I was very confused there for a second. They see me rolling. I can't tell where we're going on this marble race journey. What? Oh dear. It's definitely not a fast race, is it? So many barriers. Obstacles. Much like life. Man, this tea is hitting all the right spots. Marbles follow the RNG. And we're dropping down again. I'm so confused. As our friend Henry would say, by thunder, where is the end? Oh, and we're taking a side route. Okay. Taking a shortcut. Very good. Oh. I'm trying to, like, is that the end over there? That big frickin' box? Looks like it might be. Boing. Well done, cat. You did it. Here comes Witchy bringing up the rear. That was a fun race, but it was very hard to follow. So weird. Why do I feel like the marble race on OBS is stuck? I feel like I've chopped off some of the... Hold on. Nope. Come back. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to mess with it for a quick second. Fit to screen. Okay, it wasn't. It was just me. RNG happens, but cobbler and coffee understand. What? I have to say, I'm not following. Oh, okay. I'm with you now. Right. I am so used to short chapters that all of a sudden reading one of that length just, it's like, holy crap. Came out of nowhere. Even just trying to get my fingers to work properly to turn the pages, you know, the fingering is a little off. They all blur together. But the reading must go on. I admit that sitting down to a nice steak while listening to Daddy read a story on a Sunday evening might be my new most favorite thing. You have steak? What kind of steak? I love a good steak. Ribeye from the grill. Nice. Excellent choice. And I must admit, I need to try and level up my character in RPG. Smoked brisket, mashed potatoes, flame-grilled corn, cherry cobbler, spring rolls, and okra. Wow. Delightful. Would you like to know what I had for dinner? You'll never guess. We do some nasty, naughty things for some brisket right now? Well then. Cat's gonna jump out of her box for brisket. It looks like I'm fighting it. Oh, never mind. It's dead. I'm about to be on the next hit. And whack. Done. Any guesses? Because I'll tell you. My dinner was nowhere near as glamorous. Nowhere near. Mad Locust, what's happening? See you feel better? That's good. Yeah, I'm feeling more like myself, and I knew that stream would help. It always has. So, yeah. Appreciate you stopping on in. I'm going to under or over the weather. I was a bit under the weather at the time. But feeling better now. And I've got my tea, of course. Hot. Tasty. Put that back on the warmer. So here's what we're gonna do. Normally I would do Grand Prix. We don't really have time for that. So I'm just gonna keep picking random tracks for the marble race while I am reading. So if anybody wishes to race, all you have to do is type !play once you see the race on your screen, just like right now. You have 90 seconds to jump in, and then the race will start automatically. And while that's counting down, I'm going to continue with Chapter 10. Chapter 10 is called Extract from the Diary of Dr. Watson. You know, for a Sherlock Holmes story, there seems to be a lot about Dr. Watson. Maybe I should have dressed up like him. Huh. Here we go. So far, I've been able to quote from the reports which I have forwarded during these early days to Sherlock Holmes. Now, however, I have arrived at a point in my narrative where I am compelled to abandon this method and to trust once more to my recollections, aided by the diary which I kept at the time. A few extracts from the latter will carry me on to those scenes which are indelibly fixed in every detail upon my memory. I proceed then from the morning which followed our abortive chase of the convict and our other strange experiences upon the moor. October 16th. A dull and foggy day with a drizzle of rain. The house is banked in with rolling clouds, which rise now and then to show the dreary curves of the moor, with thin, silver veins upon the sides of the hills, and the distant boulders gleaming where the light strikes upon their wet faces. It is melancholy outside and in. And I forgot to push a button. There we go. Oh, cat got yeeted. All right. Well, maybe I will too. Yep. God, that was short. All right. Moving on. That was a terrible race. Type exclamation point play to get a marble to show up for your name. Here we go. The baronet is in a black reaction after the excitements of the night. I am conscious myself of a weight at my heart and a feeling of...
I want to bite off his head.
Yes, you can. Heart and a feeling of impending danger, ever-present danger, which is the more terrible because I am unable to define it. And have I not cause for such a feeling? Consider the long sequence of incidents which have all pointed to some sinister influence which is at work around us. There is the death of the last occupant of the hall, fulfilling so exactly the conditions of the family legend, and there are the repeated reports from peasants of the appearance of a strange creature upon the moor. Twice I have, with my own ears, heard the sound of bits. Thank you so much for the 500 bits. You didn't have to do that. That was very kind of you. Thank you very much. It was super kind. Super. What on earth prompted you to do such a thing? My goodness. Night Marcher. What's up, sir? How you doing? Don't distract me, Night Marcher, with your manliness. I'm trying to read a story. Thank you, Kay, for the... So you do bits first, and then you follow. That seems quite logical. Seriously, though, I thank you very much. It's very kind of you. Not too much. I just got back from our Mexico vacation. I wondered where you've been. It's been quite quiet. Quite quiet indeed. How was Mexico? Did you have a good time? Did you get burnt on the beach? Catbox, you bumped into my ball. How dare you? Loved it? Got some sun and beach time? Yeah, I bet you did. That's amazing. Well, I'm glad to see you're back. We've missed you. You do more than bump next time? Sounds like fighting words to me. All right, I must keep reading. It is incredible, impossible that it should really be outside the ordinary laws of nature. A spectral hound, which leaves material footmarks and fills the air with its howling, is surely not to be thought of. Stapleton may fall in with such a superstition, and Mortimer also, but if I have one quality upon earth, it is common sense, and nothing will persuade me to believe in such a thing. To do so would be to descend to the level of these poor peasants, who are not content with a mere fiend dog, but must needs describe him with hellfire shooting from his mouth and eyes. Holmes would not listen to such fancies, and I am his agent. But facts are facts, and I have twice heard the crying upon the moor. Suppose that there were really some huge hound loose upon it. That would go far to explain everything. But where could such a hound lie concealed? Where did it get its food? Where did it come from? How was it that no one saw it by day? It must be confessed that the natural explanation offers almost as many difficulties as the other. And always, apart from the Hound, there is the fact of the human agency in London, the man in the cab, and the letter which warned Sir Henry against the moor. This, at least, was real. But might it have been the work of a protecting friend as easily as of an enemy? Where is that friend or enemy now? Has he remained in London, or has he followed us down here? Could he be the stranger whom I saw upon the tour? It is true that I have only the one glance at him, and yet there are some things to which I am ready to swear. He is no one whom I have seen down here, and I have now met all the neighbors. The figure was far taller than the Stapleton, far thinner than the Franklin. Barrymore it might possibly have been, but we had left him behind us, and I am certain that he would not have followed us. A stranger, then, is still dogging us, just as a stranger dogged us in London. We have never shaken him off. If I could lay my hands upon that man, then at least we might have found ourselves at the end of all our difficulties. To this one purpose I must now devote all my energies. Catbox, well done. Rude, but it's fine. You can win, just not all the time. 90 seconds on the clock. Exclamation point play to play. You understand? All right. This one is out in the bloody desert. I didn't win a single one last time, so pish posh. I mean, good job. My first impulse was to tell Sir Henry all my plans. My second, was wisest one, is to play my own game and speak as little as possible to anyone. He is silent and distrait. His nerves have been strangely shaken by that sound upon the moor. I will say nothing to add to his anxieties, but I will take my own steps to attain my own end. In other words, I'm going to take matters into my own hands. We had a small scene this morning after breakfast. Barrymore asked leave to speak with Sir Henry, and they were collected in the study for some little time. Closeted. Sitting in the billiard room, I more than once heard the sound of voices raised, and I had a pretty good idea what the point was which was under discussion. Night marcher, more than meets the eye. After a time, the baronet opened his door and called for me. Barrymore considers that he has grievance, he said. He thinks that it was unfair on our part to hunt his brother-in-law down when he, of his own free will, had told us the secret. The butler was standing very pale but very collected before us. I may have spoken too warmly, sir, said he, and if I have, I am sure that I beg your pardon. At the same time, I was very much surprised when I heard you two gentlemen come back this morning and learned that you had been chasing Selden. The poor fellow has enough to fight against without my putting more upon his track. If you had told us of your own free will, it would have been a different thing, said the baronet. You only told us, or rather your wife only told us, when it was forced from you, and you could not help yourself. I didn't think you would have taken advantage of it, Sir Henry. Indeed, I didn't. The man is a public danger. There are lonely houses scattered over the moor, and he is a fellow who could stick at nothing. You only want to get a glimpse of his face to see that. Look at Mr. Stapleton's house, for example, with no one but himself to defend it. There's no safety for anyone until he is under lock and key. He'll break into no house, sir. I give you my solemn word upon that. But he will never trouble anyone in this country again. I assure you, Sir Henry, that in a very few days the necessary arrangements will have been made, and he will be on his way to South America. For God's sake, sir, I beg of you not to let the police know that he is still on the moor. They have given up the chase there, and he can lie quiet until the ship is ready for him. You can't tell on him without getting my wife and me into trouble. I beg you, sir, to say nothing to the police. Poor Barrymore. What do you say, Watson? I shrugged my shoulders. If he were safely out of the country, it would relieve the taxpayer of a burden. But how about the chance of his holding someone up before he goes? He would not do anything so mad, sir. We have provided him with all that he could want. To commit a crime would be to show where he was hiding. This is true, said Sir Henry. Well, Barrymore. God bless you, sir. And thank you from my heart. It would have killed my poor wife. He had been taken again. I guess we are aiding and abetting a felony, Watson. But after what we have heard, I don't feel as if I could give the man up. So, there is an end of it. All right, Barrymore. You can go. With a few broken words of gratitude, the man turned, but he hesitated and then came back. Well, this Barrymore guy is sure pushing his luck, isn't he? Jeez. You've been so kind to us, sir, that I should like to do the best I can for you in return. I know something, Sir Henry, and perhaps I should have said it before, but it was long after the inquest that I found it out. I've never breathed a word about it yet to a mortal man. It's about Sir Charles's death. The baronet and I were both upon our feet. Do you know how he died? No, sir, I don't know that. Well, what then? I know why he was at the gate at that hour. It was to meet a woman. To meet a woman? He? Yes, sir. And the woman's name? I can't give you the name, sir, but I can give you the initials. Her initials were L.L. And how do you know this, Barrymore? Oops. 90 seconds on the clock, folks. Well, Sir Henry, your uncle had a letter that morning. He had usually a great many letters, for he was a public man and well known for his kind heart, so that everyone who was in trouble was glad to turn to him. But that morning, as it chanced, there was only this one letter, so I took more notice of it. It was from Coombe Tracy, and it was addressed in a woman's hand. Well? Well, sir, I thought no more of the matter, and never would have done had not it been for my wife. Only a few weeks ago she was cleaning out Sir Charles's study. It had never been touched since his death, and she found the ashes of a burned letter in the back of the grate. The greater part of it was charred to pieces, but one little slip, the end of a page, hung together, and the writing could still be read. Though it was grey on a black ground, it seemed to us to be a postscript at the end of the letter, as it said, "Please, please, as you are a gentleman, burn this letter, and be at the gate by 10 o'clock. Beneath it, with the signed initials L.L. Have you got that slip? No, sir. It crumbled all to bits after we moved it. Had Sir Charles received any other letters in the same writing? Well, sir, I took no particular notice of his letters. I should not have noticed this one, only it happened to come alone. And you have no idea who L.L. is? No, sir. No more than you have. But I expect if we could lay our hands upon that lady, we should know more about Sir Charles's death. I cannot understand, Barrymore, how you came to conceal this important information. Well, sir, it was immediately after that our own trouble came to us. And then again, sir, we were both, well, very fond of Sir Charles. As well we might be considering all that he has done for us. To rake this up couldn't help our poor master. And well, it's to go carefully when there's a lady in the case. Even the best of us. You thought it might injure his reputation. Well, sir, I thought no good could come of it. But now you have been kind to us, and I feel as if it would be treating you unfairly not to tell you that all I know about the matter. Well, very good, Barrymore. You can go. When the butler left us, Sir Henry turned to me. Well, Watson, what do you think of this new light? Well, it seems to leave the darkness rather blacker than before. So I think. But if we can only trace L.L., it should clear up the whole business. We have gained that much. We know that there is someone who has the facts if we can only find her. What do you think we should do? Let Holmes know all about it at once. It will give him the clue for which he has been seeking. I am much mistaken if it does not bring him down. Wow, we just can't finish a race, can we? I need to sip of my tea. Delightful. Okay, I don't know what's going on with this track, but it looks like a really good time. Start. I went at once to my room and drew up my report of the morning's conversation for Holmes. It was evident to me that he had been very busy of late, for the notes which I had from Baker Street were few and short, with no comments upon the information which I had supplied and hardly any reference to my mission. No doubt his blackmailing case is absorbing all his faculties, and yet this new factor must surely arrest his attention and renew his interest. I wish that he were here. As I, Watson. October 17th. All day today the rain poured down, rustling on the ivy and dripping from the eaves. I thought of the convict out upon the bleak, cold, shelterless moor. Poor devil. Whatever his crimes, he has suffered something to atone for them. And then I thought of that other one, the face in the cab, the figure against the moon. Was he also out in that deluge? The unseen watcher, the man of darkness? In the evening I put on my waterproof and I walked far upon the Salden moor, full of dark imaginings, the rain beating upon my face and the wind whistling about my ears. Just like that. God help those who wander into the great mire now, for even the firm uplands are becoming a morass. I found the black tor upon which I had seen the solitary watcher, and from its craggy summit I looked out myself across the melancholy downs. Rain squalls drifted across their russet face, and the heavy, slate-colored clouds hung low over the landscape, trailing in grey wreaths down the sides of the fantastic hills. In the distant hollow on the left, half hidden by the mist, the two thin towers of Baskerville's Hall rose above the trees. They were the only signs of human life which I could see, save only those prehistoric huts which lay thickly upon the slope of the hills. Nowhere was there any trace of that lonely man whom I had seen on the same spot 2 nights before. As I walked back, I was overtaken by Dr. Mortimer driving in his dog cart over a rough moorland track which led from the outlying farmhouse of Foulmire. He has been very attentive to us, and hardly a day has passed he has not called at the hall to see how we were getting on. He insisted upon my climbing into his dog cart, and he gave me a lift homeward. I found him much troubled over the disappearance of the little spaniel. He had wandered onto the moor and never come back. I gave him such consolation as I might, but I thought of the pony on the Grimson Mire, and I do not fancy that he will see his little dog again. Angelic. Good evening. How you doing? It's good to see you. How art thou? Doing good? Came in to hear some reading? Well, it just so happens that we are in fact reading. Well, I'm reading. You guys are listening. But, same difference. Same difference.
Sometimes pandas will pee while doing a handstand against a tree so that they can reach higher up the tree to mark their territory.
Huh. Well, that's quite a fact. Thank you for the shout out. You sound like a famous actor, but I can't remember who. Oh, great Scott. You know what? Don't tell me. It can just be a mystery. Let's see. I have lost my place. Something. Oh, the dog. That's right. By the way, Mortimer. Oh, no, it's not your fault. I took my finger off the page. Oh, wait. Gosh. Excuse me. By the way, Mortimer, said I as we jolted along the rough road. Suddenly a frog in my throat. I suppose there are a few people living within driving distance of this whom you do not know? Catbox win again. Good job, Cat. Hardly any, I think. 90 seconds on the clock. Can you then tell me the name of any woman whose initials are LL? He thought for a few minutes. No, said he. There are a few gypsies and labouring folk for whom I can't answer, but among the farmers or gentry, there's no one whose initials are those. Wait a bit, though, he added after a pause. There is Laura Lyons. Her initials are LL. But she lives in Coombe Tracy. By George, that's just who we need. Who is she? I asked. Oh, she is Franklin's daughter. What? Old Franklin the Crank. Exactly. She married an artist named Lyons, who came sketching on the moor. He proved to be a blackguard and deserted her. The fault, from I hear, may not have been entirely on one side. Her father refused to have anything to do with her because she had married without his consent. And perhaps... and perhaps for one or two other reasons as well. So, between the old sinner and the young one, the girl had had a pretty bad time. But how does she live? I fancy old Frankland allows her a pittance, but cannot be more, for his own affairs are considerably involved. Whatever she may have deserved, one could not allow her to go hopelessly to the bad. Her story got about, and several of the people here did something to enable her to earn an honest living. Stapleton did for one, and Sir Charles for another. I gave a trifle myself. It was to set her up in a typewriting business. He wanted to know the object of my inquiries, but I managed to satisfy his curiosity without telling him too much, for there is no reason why we should take anyone into our confidence. Tomorrow morning I shall find my way to Coombe Tracy, and if I can see this Mrs. Laura Lyons of equivocal reputation, a long step will have been made towards clearing one incident in this chain of mysteries. I am certainly developing the wisdom of the serpent, for when Mortimer pressed his questions to an inconvenient extent, I asked him casually to what type Franklin's skull belonged, and so heard nothing but craniology for the rest of our drive. I have not lived for years with Sherlock Holmes for nothing. I have only one other incident to record upon this tempestuous and melancholy day. This was my conversation with Barrymore just now, which gives me one more strong card which I can play in due time. Mortimer had stayed to dinner, and he and the baronet played écarté afterwards. The butler brought me my coffee into the library, and I took the chance to ask him a few questions. "Well," said I, "has this precious relation of yours departed, or is he still lurking out yonder?" "I don't know, sir. I hope to heaven that he has gone, for it has brought nothing but trouble here. I have not heard of him since I left food out for him last, and that was 3 days ago." "Did you see him then?" "No, sir, but the food was gone what next I went that way." "Then he was certainly there?" "So you would think, sir, unless it was the other man who took it." I sat with my coffee cup halfway to my lips and stared at Barrymore. "You know that there's another man, then?" "Oh, yes, sir. There is another man upon the moor." This Barrymore guy seems to know a lot, and yet has no idea how to share it. Kind of an idiot, really. Very much a shame. 90 seconds on the clock. "Have you seen him?" "No, sir." "Well, how do you know of him, then?" "Selden told me of him, sir, a week ago or more. He's in hiding too, but he's not a convict as far as I can make out." "I don't like it, Dr. Watson. I tell you straight, sir, that I don't like it." He spoke with a sudden passion or earnestness. "Now, listen to me, Barrymore. I have no interest in this matter but that of your master. I have come here with no object except to help him. Tell me frankly, what is it that you don't like?" Barrymore hesitated for a moment, as if he regretted his outburst or found it difficult to express his own feelings in words. "It's all these goings-on, sir," he cried at last, waving his hand toward the rain-lashed window which faced the moor. There's foul play somewhere, and there's black villainy brewing, to that I'll swear. Very glad I should be, sir, to see Sir Henry on his way back to London again. But what is it that alarms you? Look at Sir Charles's death. That was bad enough, for all that the coroner said. Look at the noises on the moor at night. There is not a man would cross it after sundown if he was paid for it. Look at this stranger hiding out yonder, watching and waiting. What's he waiting for? What does it mean? It means no good to anyone of the name of the Baskerville, and very glad I shall be to quit of all of it on the day that Sir Henry's new servants are ready to take over the hall. But about this stranger, said I, can you tell me anything about him? What did Selden say? Did he find out where he hid, or what he was doing? We saw him once or twice, but he's a deep one and gives nothing away. At first he thought that he was the police, but soon he found that he had some lay of his own. A kind of gentleman he was, as far as he could see, but what he was doing he could not make out. And where did he say that he lived? Among the old houses of the hillside, the stone huts where the old folk used to live. But how about his food? Selden found out that he got a lad who works for him and bring him all he needs. I dare say he goes to Coombe Tracy for what he wants. Very good, Barrymore. We may talk further of this some other time. When the butler had gone, I walked over to the black window, and I looked through a blurred pane at the driving clouds and at the tossing outline of the wind-swept trees. It was a wild night indoors, and must be in a stone hut upon the moor. What passion of hatred can it be which leads a man to lurk in such a place at such a time? And what deep and earnest purpose can he have which calls for such a trial? There, in that hut upon the moor, seems to lie the very centre of that problem which has vexed me so sorely. I swear that any other day shall not have passed before I have done all that a man can do to reach the heart of the mystery. And that, ladies and gentlemen, closes chapter 10. Now, quite fittingly, chapter 11 is titled The Man on the Moor, The Man on the Tor, T-O-R. Perhaps on Tuesday we shall find out more. Mark my words. All right. How very exciting. So just as a reminder, as I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I want to mention now, I have found 2 new books that we're going to be reading. The first of which is a vampire-inspired story that is very, as I am told, spicy. That's the book that we will be reading first. Once that one is done, we have a dystopian sci-fi kind of story to read. And I am quite excited for both. You think chat's quiet now? Just wait until I start reading a story with spicy content. Man, it feels weird to say that we've only read 2 chapters, but that was a lot of pages. That was a lot of pages. Is everyone doing okay? Everyone have a good time? The puzzle is like 95% done. The normal voice versus the reading voice. That's right. It's a thing. Hunky dory. Lovely. You loved them? Excellent. It was lovely. Excellent. Thank you for the feedback. So, here's my question. Yeah, here's my question. These 2 new books should be arriving sometime next week. Probably Monday or Tuesday, because that's Amazon for you. The question is this. Do you want me to finish reading this before then starting our new books? Or do you want me to just say, thanks for the memories, set that aside, and get straight into what will be the vampire story that we're going to start first? Perhaps I should put up a poll. Yes. I think that would be a great idea. Allow me to find such a thing. There it is. I need a poll. Not a dancing pole, just a poll. All right, new poll. Here we go. Bear with me. Ba-ba. Why is there always a bloody character limit? All right, the poll will be up for 2 minutes. Feel free to chime in, cast your vote. It is your civic streamer's duty, or Twitch duty to vote. I'd love a new story, but that's just me. If you don't finish, I'll be stalking your DMs to read to me. All right then. You've been reading a lot of Sherlock. Or at least a lot of related Sherlock, yes. What about both? Sherlock one day a week until it is done? I certainly could do that, but I don't enjoy bouncing between books. Granted, these books are going to be wildly different from each other, so it wouldn't make it that difficult. But it's more so the writing style that I know is going to throw me off, because, you know, modern day writing versus, well, whenever this was written. Oh, Mr. Doyle. When did you write this? I don't even know. But my point is, the styles are very different, and it helps my head to not mix the two. They flow differently. The sentence structures are different. Like it's a whole thing. 1902, exactly. Sheesh. That was a long ass time ago. Wow, okay. 2 of you voted. Thanks, guys. And you tied it. Nailed it. Envisioning Homes, written by Stephen King. Oh god, that would be something, wouldn't it? I was just gonna say that the stories might be shorter, but if Stephen King is writing it, probably not. Might be longer. Well, we have Tuesday to think about this some more. I will recant my vote. You can move on. Not like I haven't read it a few times. Okay. Well, we still have Tuesday, all right? I'm still... Where are we at? We're on page 143. And this goes to... like 400 or something like that. Yeah, so we're only like 25%. Just finish the story, it'll make it easier. Okay, now you're both flip-flopping. You are no help. No help at all. Unbelievable. Get it together, folks. Oh, now my lights turn on. Okay. Well, I want a new book. I know you do. But that's because I get bored easily. Well, I'm afraid I can't solve your boredom. I read stories all at the same time. What do you mean? Like, do you hold two books open at the same time and just a book on each table? I see. Unfortunately, nothing I write would be Twitch-worthy, even though they are not too bad. They are risque. What kind of risque? What is it? Whoa, that was loud. What kind of risque do you mean? I am opposite. Nothing happens until I am done reading my book. Nothing. Ah. Well done. You did it. That's the moment we were waiting for. The Thames River in London. Well done, puzzlers. Allusions to events or acts without directly specifying. That's most people. My brain is very cockeyed. Well, that's because Mama House Gaming lived in the 70s, man. I'm just kidding. We'll figure it out. Nothing needs to be decided here and now. Because on Tuesday, we're still reading this. Okay? Good. I'm going to hurt you? Don't do that. Like most, my brain is cross-wired. Left controls right and right the left. And the frontal is confused. Watch it, father. Oh, cat's got a knife out. Time to go. Right. Let's see who we can go raid. Let's see, shall we? Nope, snooze. We don't need ads right now. Thank you. And I apologize. I completely missed the ads earlier when we were reading. Didn't even see it come up. Otherwise, I would have paused. So that's on me. I try to do a better job about catching those, and that way we can take a breath, let the ads run, and keep going, just in case someone actually gets ads. I never know who is really seeing ads, but F&A Twitch. F&A. Let's see. Who can we say hello to? Ba-da-ba-da-ba-bum-bum. I think. Therefore, I am. Maybe we shall see if. Yeah, Here There Be Monsters are playing RimWorld. So that's cool. User Death, aka Ali, is playing Crime Simulator, not Stimulator. Stimulator. Yeah, let's go raid Ali. It could be a good time. She's a hoot, you know? So please copy the raid message, if you could be so kind. And we will go say hello.